18 to 25-year-olds that are having these crises of morality because their feels are telling them that it's okay to support terrorism when it's the oppressed that just need to stand up to the oppressor. We need to let them know, like, no, that's never okay.
Welcome to another episode of the Carpe Fide podcast, where if the shoe fits, you wear it.
And if the truth hurts, you bear it.
I am Justin Gruber.
And I am Jesse Gruber.
And today we hope you will seize the faith.
Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Carpe Fide podcast.
We've just decided to completely reboot everything.
Brand new, never happened before. You're in on the ground floor.
You don't know me. You don't know him.
Who are we? We're no one's, or everyone's. Who knows?
At the same time. A little bit of everything all of the time.
We are so sorry that we have been gone on this hiatus. We had the G3 conference, and then our schedules were busy. Jesse was sick. Then we had an episode. We recorded it. It was about an hour and 20 minutes of content. It was great. We had Josh Kuiper from Kuiper Bell Productions. We had Alex Rodriguez from the Outpost Church. And we were talking about Christian nationalism, and the audio was horrible. It didn't work. It was broken and choppy, and we had to completely disregard it. And so
those internet demons.
Here we are. We have missed you. We're so glad to be able to jump in. So much has happened since we last recorded. And while you might be expecting this to be an episode on Christian nationalism, it's not going to be. It's just,
sorry, maybe next time.
We're really going to try to get set up to have a better discussion with that. And this is not that time. No, it's not.
No.
Instead, tonight we're going to talk about a really spicy topic that seems to be engulfing everywhere and all things.
I think our listeners are smart enough to know that it's way less spicy than it should be.
Yeah.
Or it should be way less spicy than it is.
Yes, I believe we do have some discerning listeners. That's for sure. We're thankful for you. But nonetheless, inside of, our mainstream culture in the United States, North America, globally, all the way through, it's a big topic. That'd be looking at the conflict in the Middle East right now between Hamas in the Gaza Strip and Israel.
You're trying to tell me that right now there is a conflict in the Middle East?
I know, this is a surprise to everyone. We're going to look at it from a different angle, though, because our focus is not inherently on talking about that conflict. That conflict should be relatively simple. I don't know why, but there seems to be
That's why this episode's called Predicting the Rapture.
No, that's not true. But there definitely seems to be. I don't understand what the conflict. Well, I don't understand why there's so much conflict back and forth inside of evangelicalism over this, the situation happening in Israel. You can boil it just simply down to when someone does something evil. Sometimes there's consequences. So, it's just very simple.
When someone does something evil, don't take their side.
Yeah, and that's important too. Like, this isn't going to be a conversation.
Even if the other side is Jewish people.
This isn't going to be a conversation about how, Israel is God's people and, they don't need to be saved. Oh, this isn't that conversation. That's not how this works.
Right.
Because that's not true. Everyone needs Jesus, regardless of your ethnicity. That's just pretty clear. Amen?
Amen.
Okay. So don't think about this as that kind of episode. This is a much more culturally relevant episode, I think, because some recent polling and data has come out inside of the United States. And it's kind of disturbing.
Is it from the NIH?
No, this is a Harvard-Harris poll.
Different disturbing. Got it.
Yeah, no. It's disturbing because
no dogs were harmed in the collection of this data.
No, right. Why would there be dogs? Did I miss this?
The NIH, the sand fleas.
Oh no, this isn't.
Yeah,
this isn't.
Remember that?
Fauci's got nothing to do with this. Senator Paul. All right.
All right, little Timmy. What sound do dogs make? No, you're wrong. They make no sound.
They make no sound when you take out their vocal
remove
cords.
Their vocal cords.
They can't scream anymore.
Suffering in silence.
That's awful. That was it. Just messed up.
He is a terrible human being.
He's just rich and retired now.
You know where I hope he goes?
Where?
The Gaza Strip, because that's about to be completely decimated.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm getting into it.
That's not exactly true either.
Getting too
Let's
far ahead.
take a second here. Okay. Wow. I don't even know where to go. I'm going to try to get back on topic after that.
See,
rant.
you thought I didn't know anything, but here I am just...
They're not getting... You know what? Again, I'm not going into it. The Harvard-Harris poll, in reference here, was taken on October 8th. and it ran through. There's another one out, I believe, most recently from the 19th, talking about some of these topics. The perspective of Americans, registered voters, aged 18 to, I believe, 65.
Why is it so tiny on your screen?
And that's just because I didn't zoom in on the PDF document.
Oh.
It's okay. There's like they asked hundreds of questions on it. It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. All right. No.
And
Felt
what's
bad for you.
disturbing? The disturbing part is there's a significant. Well, first of all, generally speaking, in America, there's a significant amount of support for Israel against the terrorist activity of Hamas. Overwhelming support, like 87% support, which is a lot of support. In fact, you can't get 87% of Americans to agree on a lot of things. Like,
very true.
Like, should we have speed limits? Or you don't think 87% agree on it? I don't know. I don't know.
See, it's not just the people who are actively participating in the thing, it's also their allies. And
Anyway.
also the indifferent, because the indifferent support. The
Nothing.
indifferent help, not the right position. They help the wrong
Do
position.
nothing. Apathy is the worst. Anyway,
Apathy is a tragedy and boredom is a crime.
yeah. You get any more lyrics or no?
That is the second reference to that special that I've put in this. Let's see how many I can get.
I don't know. Probably more. So in the data, though, although there's this overwhelming support for Israel against Hamas terrorism, and there should be. It's a moral question. You have to answer a moral question morally, and morally, we as Christians would seek to establish what is true and then support the truth. So it's not. It's good. That's great. The problem is when you break that data down and you start going into the subsets of ages, you suddenly get just this kind of staggering.
You really see where the stupid comes in.
You just get a staggering statistical anomaly that seems to be happening, and it's really where I wanted to focus our attention. It's really where I wanted to take a second and have a conversation, because this big demographic. It's not a. I don't want to say overspend it, but this specific demographic of Americans is actually pretty much split 50-50. There was I believe a plus or minus 2% margin of error in the poll. And in that plus or minus 2%, the age cohort of 18 to 24 on the question of whether or not they sided with Israel or Hamas in this conflict, the 18 to 24 demographic pretty much broke right down the middle. So 52% were with Israel and 48% were with Hamas. Now, again, that's a plus or minus 2% variance there in margin of error. And so it very well is pretty much right down the middle. And you're like, well, I mean, hey, that's still 50-50. Yeah, the problem is it's not like that in any of the other demographics. All the other demographics have to be actually even more in support of Israel in order to get the final number, because this demographic is completely down the line. So it's actually a really stark, kind of shocking contrast in the poll. It's something that I think should cause us a momentary pause to evaluate what's culturally happening, that would be the case. You know what I mean? Yeah, I asked Jesse a question when he was yawning. He was literally yawning, and I'm like, let me look at him and ask him a question. He's just mouth wide open, can't say anything.
I'm just trying to figure out how to, not make this a podcast about education, because obviously that plays into a huge factor. And you know what's ironic? I was thinking about this as you were talking. Like, you know how the CNN-sters, they're like, oh yeah, no, the white college educated, people are voting blue, and it's like, well, yeah, well, obviously they're dumb. Like, they're doing the stupid things. Like, 50-50 split, like, would you take a 50-50 chance of dying? Like, no, those are horrible odds. Like, this is a very sobering statistic.
Yeah, it's
when it comes down to what the issue is and what I see. Like, I just don't think people people can't think anymore. Like, they don't know how to actually think about anything. So they're parroting everything, and the things that they're parroting are the things that they're learning in secular education.
Well, it's definitely something that I think requires us to like peel back the layers and understand why there's such a danger there. When you hear those numbers, you realize that there is a serious crisis, right, of morality in the age group of 18 to 25. And I want to keep specifically saying that specific age group because that is a specific kind of generational age group right now. The generation coming that's actually younger behind them doesn't necessarily have the exact same outlook. It's actually a little different. But the 18 and 25 right now is a pretty scary place to be. We have this crisis of morality, this ambiguity there, but it's all driven by something. And I was really starting to ponder, like, postmodern thought, this stupid idea where truth is relative, right? Where you have your truth and I have my truth, right? That's we know it's stupid. In fact,
Wrong.
Correct. There's only truth. There's not your truth or my truth. There's the truth. And the reason that's so stupid and easily, philosophically, it's easily combated, right? Because someone can say, well, there is no truth. And then you just simply ask them, is that statement true? Because if that statement's true, then, well, clearly there is truth, you moron, is pretty much how that conversation ends. And so the postmodern philosophy was in general DOA. It was dead on arrival. It was never going to be able to grow. The problem is it was a cancer.
I was going to say, not without wreaking havoc.
Right. It was a cancer that was fueled by pride. That's what's at the center of it. The reason it could exist at all was because pride makes us all want to say, yes, me and my way is fine. Leave me alone. I'll do whatever I want. Because that's all postmodernity was. That's all that thought was. And so that cancer festered. And I think we have this real concern. We should have this real concern because there's this demographic of young humans who've been educated in the public education system and find themselves on college campuses right now who have complete moral ambiguity. And they have it because Marxism inside of the system saw the frailty of postmodernity, but they saw a way that since people desire that selfish, self-motivated superiority that they could feel in having their truth rule, that they just twisted it just a little tiny bit and stuck it into their narrative, right? Of the proletariat versus the bourgeoisie and the oppressor must rise up. And they stuck it in there through the simple pride-driven idea of emotional determinism. That's the key. These young students are driven by emotional determinism. How do you feel about it? And of course they are, because they've been being asked this question since they were 5 years old in kindergarten all the way through. Every public school system in America has an emotional social learning class. Every one of them run by a Marxist educated psychiatrist who is asking them to rate their feelings and is validating them every day in the government funded, taxpayer paid public school system. And they've gotten this for so long that they actually believe their emotions do determine things. And this is why
I feel, therefore I am.
Right. This is why we have ethnocentrism, right? This is why we have these divides where they try to make, race and racism something that we all must interact with every day.
Talking about Owen Strachan?
No, this was not a kinnis. No, I wasn't going there. Right. It's why we have an econocentrism, right? Where it's the eat the rich. We must eat the rich. All of these things stem from emotional determinism. I feel that it is unfair, and therefore my feeling of unfairness is what will rule. And so we have a 50-50 debate over whether or not there should be retaliation from somebody who invaded a country using terrorist capabilities while they're burning babies in ovens and butchering men and women and raping and kidnapping. There should not be a 50-50 split over that.
It's not inconsequential. Your feelings have consequences.
Right. And so the sooner we can take emotional determinism and put it into emotional consequentialism will probably be a lot better for all of them. Because this is what the reason we have these issues of all life now, because they walk into things and they feel that something is unfair and the whole room has to cater to them. The whole world, businesses. We have major institutions, major
The White House.
Yeah, well, it's like the one thing that Joe Biden hasn't done totally horribly is he's actually said, yeah, no, we should probably support Israel here. Like, I mean, yeah, it's some of there's still some tongue in cheek stuff, and I still obviously he's a weak individual, but at least he's been like, oh, I think we should support Israel.
Weak in mind, weak in body, weak in policy.
Right, and the reason things like this can happen is because of the weakness of the global actor that is America. The way we funded Iran, the way we left so much of our military munitions and capabilities in Afghanistan on the ground that were then taken over by terrorist leaders. This is the travesty. The reality is we are now going to have to support Israel when we are the ones who have like aided and abetted their destruction. It's like the dumbest thing. It's like paying off a loan shark and then also paying the police's salaries that have to stop the loan shark's business. It's like stupid. It's just ridiculous. And yet here we are today having to do just that. Regardless, what do we do to help bring about a change in this idea of emotional determinism? What do we do to undercut that reality, and how do we go about it? Because that's the important thing we have to take away. We can't continue. Yeah, certainly, we can focus our efforts, and I believe we are as a, well, at least as a Christian group, have focused. The church is largely focused on the reality that we must train up children. Right, and that we beat that drum hard. I would say pretty hard.
Yeah,
we get that down. But what do we do with these 18 to 25-year-olds? This is a whole demographic of people.
Start beating them.
Then they're going to say, "But you're hurting me and my feelings."
Just go get in that ditch. You know what I realized real quick?
Bring me that shovel.
Another gator. Oh man.
I'm
Anyway, you know what I realized we never did? So we never defined what the conflict is.
Oh, we didn't?
No, you think we should just take like 2 seconds to define what the conflict is?
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like it's really not that hard.
Yeah, go ahead. Define the conflict.
Sure. So a couple weeks ago now, the beginning of October 2023, Hamas, which is a terrorist organization residing in what is the West Bank.
Gaza Strip.
They are essentially the elected organization that is running the country.
Yes, since 2007. That's correct.
And they are absolute terrorists. So what they did was they parachuted some dudes in and on a Jewish holiday and slaughtered them and raped them and kidnapped them and burned the babies and took pictures. And Israel's like, no, we can't let that happen. So Israel then started like retaliating against that. And here is where people are split 50-50 trying to figure out who to support.
Not people. Young
people.
People. College educated, currently being educated in college. The students.
Well, if they can't figure out their gender, there's no way they're going to be able to figure out geopolitical issues. That's for darn sure. Not with any amount of accuracy.
The problem is that, and it's all the same. It's moral issues. They cannot figure out moral issues. Marxism latched onto emotional determinism, and it's created the constant oppressor-oppressed conversation in everything. Everything is the oppressor oppressed. If they get a job, they are the oppressed, and the business is the oppressor. Everything is seen in light of these things, and they will be.
They have a parent.
The parent is the oppressor,
Same
and
thing.
they are the oppressed. And even the colleges that are catering to them that they attend are the oppressor, and they are the oppressed. And that reality has created in them, right? I mean, apart from the fact that they were given trophies at every level all throughout their childhood growing up, has created in them this idea that you'll do what I say. You will validate my feelings, and my feelings determine what is right and wrong. That's the real danger. And so they literally are standing on the side. Half of them are standing on the side of child killing, women raping terrorists. This is not up for debate. The morons took videos. They did. They took their own videos. And then, you know what? When they turns out they actually were attacking a much more stronger and sophisticated foe than and they got killed. Their little freaking GoPros were stuck on their bodies. We have the videos. There is no question. There is a whole video of them torturing a father by putting that baby, his child, his small baby, in an oven and killing the child. It's not up for debate. This is outright disgustingly evil. The dregs of society. They should be swiftly and totally removed from the board.
Right.
That's a nice way to say that.
But in school, they were taught that Israel is an oppressor state who uprooted civilizations and who kicked people out and who are racist and who are intolerant and who want to see the complete and utter destruction of Muslim people and all of this other stuff. And so they're like, oh, well, they're justified in doing that. No one is ever justified in putting a child in an oven to kill them, ever. There is no action that warrants that response.
Yeah, nope, zero.
And plus, all of those rationales, they don't really exist. They don't work out on paper. They only work out in your mind, in the figment of your imagination, driven by your emotions. They have no, like what you were saying earlier, they have no framework for morality. It is like pouring water onto a beach. There is nothing to hold it.
Right. There's a culture of death and there's a culture of valuing life. And these two cultures are opposed. And these two cultures are literally opposed in Hamas and Israel. The idea inside of, and I don't want to get into this whole, like, oh, you're some sort of Israelophile or something. Like, no, like, I just want to see truth and morality upheld.
I think about the Roman Empire more often than I think about the current nation state of Israel.
Oh, 100%. Oh, man. What a Chad.
Anyway. If only I was as muscular as the meme.
Seriously. All right, so in peeling back and getting to the underlying layer, the only way that you can inject reality is to actually have conversations and not be goaded into silence. There's this reality where we don't say things because we're afraid. We've been taught to be afraid that we're going to offend or create tension, and we must war against that fear. That is such a lie. The emotional determinism is allowed to continue because no one's saying, no. You need to stop it and pull your head out of your rear end because you're being a fool. It is not kind to let someone to continue in foolishness because the way of a fool leads to death. That is unloving and it is evil to allow that to continue. The loving person says, no. I love you enough to tell you that is incredibly foolish and it will kill you. So you need to stop.
Yes, allowing genocidal governments to continue to exist after they have horrendously attacked, raped, and pillaged your people is not loving your neighbor.
No, it's truly not.
That's for the Gospel Coalition, just so they know.
Oh, did they have a thing?
Oh, I'm sure it's coming. I mean, look, dude, they analyzed the gospel and Taylor Swift concerts, so let's not put anything past our friends over. Oh wait, was that Christianity Today? No, that was the Gospel Coalition, I think. They're basically the same.
I was going to say, and the difference is
one is green,
one is green and one is blue.
Bluish. Yeah.
Oh, how far they have fallen!
They even both have C in it. NT. They have T and C in it.
Yes, they do.
THC.
We as Christians
Probably wrote an article.
must be willing to have these conversations because the importance here is that there is a generational issue in human beings not being able to identify moral issues properly and instead judging moral issues by their feelings. Now, there is a whole world of people that feed off of this reality because it is easy to predict emotions and control them. That is literally the art of manipulation, is to be able to predict an emotional response based upon given stimuli. It's not
Just
hard.
ask Klaus Schwab.
Yes, he will.
He wrote a book on it.
He will tell you exactly how to do this.
First you start,
9.
you start.
You will be so happy. You have nothing. No food. 9. I'm sorry, Klaus. Sorry.
So loud.
Sorry. He's very well. It's a very abrupt language. It's and he's a Bond villain, so he's loud. If we can interject truth by the Socratic method, simply asking questions. Do you support terrorism? Great place to start. The usual answer you can get to that is no. And then you say, well, is this terrorism? And then they may also say, well, no, that's not terrorism. You could say, okay, then what is terrorism? Make them actually have to engage with the cognitive dissonance that they are living in. And we're using this as an example because this is in the study, but this is around everything, right? The cognitive dissonance that's associated with not being able to identify men and women, male and female, is an easy one to pick apart. What is a woman? Some have asked. It's right there. It's pretty easy. Why do you want to eat the rich? What does rich mean? Like just asking the question, how does one become rich?
Are all cops are bastards, or does that include your father, or what?
But
I was just playing on the irony, like if they knew someone that was a cop and they're like, "Oh, they're bad," and honestly, they probably would say yes anyway. That's just how dumb it is.
I disown my father. Good luck with that.
I am your father.
And when we begin to have these conversations, when we're not afraid to have them, and that includes like, hey, don't go too far outside. Start with the people inside your own family. Like everyone's like, oh, but Thanksgiving isn't a place for this. No, if you want to be able to give thanks, you need to start with the truth. And if you don't have the truth, then what are you doing? You're not giving thanks. You're just eating a meal and lying to each other. It's just
listen. Don't be the drunk Uncle Charlie at Thanksgiving.
Well,
but
you
you
can't.
absolutely can be the religious political nut Uncle Charlie at Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Just be the God-fearing, truth-loving individual that you're called to be by God's word.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I didn't say that.
You didn't say that. You went a little further. You may have used some emotions in that a bit there. And this is probably a fine place to say when you're talking about truth here, the conversation is not about whether or not Israel are God's chosen people here. The reality
only
is,
144,000 are. So.
Yeah, the reality is they need Jesus Christ to be their Lord and Savior. He is the high priest that is also the offering. He makes the offering as the high priest, and he is indeed the sacrifice that is being offered. So understand something here.
What about all the promises in the Old Testament about their obedience in their land?
Yeah, well, right now they
just don't take the bait. Don't take it. We're literally saying that we don't have to talk about that.
No, because the reality is that doesn't matter in this conversation. And then when you turn the conversation to like, it is the promised. They're the promised people. We must support them because they're the promised people.
You all see
That's
that
not
red
true.
heifer? I saw that red heifer.
Right, like you don't have to support them because they're God's chosen people, and you know what? Simultaneously, you don't have to not support them because they're not saved, or because you think they have some sort of global nefarious cabal because they're Jews. Like, you can just point and say that is a great immoral evil, and they have the right to remove that evil to ensure the safety of them and their people. Like, that's okay to say. It's okay to say that.
You switched back to the conflict with Hamas, not staying on the cabal, right?
Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, that was moving away from the cabal example to the reality of what's on the boots on the ground situation here.
Literally.
Right.
Boots underground. Boots on the ground.
Like the tremendous, like, it doesn't matter whether you're dispensational or whether you love Andrew Torba, like both, because both those are two opposite sides of the spectrum here. The reality is, right smack dab in the middle of that is what the heck is actually happening? And being able to evaluate truth in the moment is very, very important. That's how we can establish what is morally right or wrong based upon God's standards. And it is a gross and disgusting evil to attack, invade, rape, murder, pillage, kidnap, and snare, and then retreat, all while bombing. All while firing rockets.
Retreat
that is
behind civilians.
That is all of this is a gross, disgusting. This is downright obvious evil. And in order for there to be any hope of existence for any people, whether it be in the Gaza Strip or in Israel in this moment, that evil must be stopped. It's not even a question. There is the necessity to stop that type of evil. They have chosen the way of violence. And violence often begats violence. And some people say, well, you can't. Violence is bad. Violence is really bad. And I would say, no. Violence isn't inherently bad. Sometimes violence is incredibly necessary. Like, I'll show you. Why don't you come try to capture my child and rape it? And we will see violence. We will see tremendous violence in that situation. And I guarantee you most people seeing would not be like, oh, wow, that was bad. He was violent. They would say, oh, my goodness, there is a father who actually loves their child and is seeking to protect and care for them. Real sad about that child. Child rape is dying, though. Oh, bummer.
Rats.
Think about what you just have to ponder for half a second when we make statements that we should not make them. We should not make them. We do war against evil. We do fight against evil. Evil is something we are supposed to wield the sword against. It is what governments and rulers and authorities are supposed to be stopping. That is literally what they have been given. To rule righteously means to righteously uphold the sword and wield it against unrighteousness. All right, now I feel like I just went on a long diatribe there. I'm sorry, everybody. I apologize.
Well, it is what it is. It's been 3 weeks, so.
When we can identify,
Jeez, it's been that long.
It's been at least 3 weeks. It's not great.
Yikes!
We're really bad. We're sorry.
As John Cooper would say.
That is
Also,
that. Okay. No, please don't. And if you want to know what that's all about, we'll see you at a conference sometime, and maybe you can see John Cooper there. And
no, we talked about it in the
we
G3
did
recap.
a recap.
That's literally the only reason I did it. Is because people might actually
call back. Man, there's probably like 1,000 other things I really want to say here, but I feel like they're all
44,000.
They're on. They all just veer off topic.
Yeah, I think like there was a lot, at least initially. I feel like it's died down a little bit, maybe, on the socials of like people arguing back and forth about eschatology and stuff like that, and that's good that died down, because that was just really, really just stupid and missing the complete point. So like, Israel has a right to defend its borders from terrorists, just like any other sovereign nation. I don't care what nation it is. That nation has a responsibility to protect its people.
You know what we didn't have a lot of conversations about when we were like trying to kill Osama bin Laden and hunt down, everything to do with ISIS and all that. Remember that whole jazz after 9/11? You know what we didn't stop to say? Like, you know what? But what about potential collateral damage? We should really be careful. We want to have a very small footprint when we go into these foreign countries. We don't want to leave too much of a. No. Here's the thing. The idea of having a war is to win. You win the war, and when someone attacks you, you don't just say, "Oh well, rats," because when you do that, guess what you get? Attacked again,
Yeah.
and again, and again,
Until
and
you don't
again,
exist.
until you're done.
Yep.
You go and you win, and then you help heal and build. But you can't simultaneously wage war, which is to destroy your enemy, and also simultaneously build your enemy up. It's not possible to be done.
I mean, I did criticize that one time when Obama accidentally droned that hospital. That was a huge tragedy.
You know who did a good job with a drone strike was when we killed that Soleimani guy.
Yeah.
We just got him and the driver, and that was it. Just done. Just like that. And you know what we didn't have? Wars. Anywhere. No wars. Zero wars.
No new wars, man.
Did Russia invade Ukraine? Nope. Not
for those 4 years.
Did Iran-backed militants and Muslim terrorists attack Israel? No.
Well, Justin, it's because we didn't give them our weapons.
Yes, once we gave them their weapons and pallets of cash, it was suddenly we didn't use our money.
They're like, now is the time to strike.
You know what? I'm so glad you did a racist voice before me. I didn't do it. I was about to do it. I was this close.
I mean, it is what they said.
It's like, oh no, we didn't use them. We didn't use any of the hundreds of millions of dollars you gave us to fund any of Hamas. We didn't use that. We used other funds that we already had. We used our other monies for that, and then we just took your money and used it for what we were going to use that money for. It's like, wait a second. You mean money's fungible? You mean we give people
that's what the Fed's been doing for quite some time.
When we give terrorists money and they say they're going to use it for good things, they could use that money for quote unquote good things while simultaneously then taking all of their money that they don't have to use for good things now and use it for completely evil things?
Yeah, the funny thing is that good things weren't like clearly defined in the paperwork.
It was just like
you know,
use this
it's
to do
like,
good stuff. And
you know, we're over here thinking they're going to use it for like peanut butter and fluff sandwiches, and they're like, no, like you know, maybe like some research on uranium.
We're just over here spinning up some uranium, trying to enrich it. Isn't that's a good thing, right?
This is definitely by far the best, the cheapest military conflict for Hamas. They're just using all the weapons that we gave them.
Oh my gosh, it's
they
so bad.
probably haven't even had to put out any actual funds yet.
It's so bad.
There's a lot to be infuriated about, and it is not 50-50, y'all.
I cannot. It is absolutely ridiculous to me the amount of effort Israel goes to try to not have civilian casualties. Like, I'm sorry. At a certain point, like, yes, you should try to limit it, but the things that risking any military advantage to not have civilian casualties, it ruins the idea of having the military advantage. It just doesn't exist. So
this wasn't even a conversation with Ukraine. It wasn't even a conversation. No one said be careful. Like,
I was like, oh no, they invaded.
It certainly
here.
wasn't a headline.
Have all
or
of this
a topic
stuff
for literally months, or not months, weeks. People have been saying it for weeks. Our Congress people in our House of Representatives still think that Israel bombed a hospital.
That's not true. They know good and well that Israel did not bomb the hospital, but they will continue to lie to you, knowing that it is a lie. It is far worse. It is far worse. It is not their belief. They know exactly what happened. They want to purposefully lie, and the specific people we're talking about who will remain unnamed. Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, you will remain unnamed, but you are specifically choosing to lie, which is far worse than thinking just in ignorance you are correct. That is purposefully lying, and the evil it is to hide behind.
It's lying. It's manipulation. It is egregious sin. Like, how stupid are the people of those states to elect those officials? Those are the 50-50 people electing those guys, ladies, however they identify today.
No, I mean, actually, they're coming from communities that largely are made up of them, like their exact mindset.
That came out wrong.
No, their exact mindset. That thing. I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess it did. Their thinking is what's getting them elected. They come from communities that are largely immigrant. They're largely immigrant communities from specifically even Syria. That's exactly where Ilhan Omar comes from. Those are the people that are electing her, and so they elected a person that will parrot exactly what they think. And that's probably a whole other discussion. Like, you really do have to be careful who you bring into a nation that...
You mean we shouldn't just let literally everyone in?
Especially when your nation only exists because of a creed. And if they don't want to be a part of the creed, you have a serious problem. Like, if they want to reject the creed upon which your nation was founded, right? Like, we're not an ethnicity. American is not an ethnicity. We're all the ethnicities because we're a creedal nation. You subscribe to the creed. But here's the problem. Now you have people that are a part of the country that don't subscribe to the creed. What do you do? What do you do? Because that will undo the creed. It will destroy it.
Well, you give them government money, hook them on drugs, and then give them the ability to vote.
And put them in the Congress.
Bing, bang, boom.
Yeah, and it is such a... This is like the same person that said some people did something.
Yuck.
Referring to the bombing of the World Trade Center.
Trash.
The death of 2,000 Americans who were going to work.
Why did I think it was 4?
And you know what? You know how that ended? You know how that went? That ended it with, hey, there was collateral damage in that war. And you know what none of us said? We should really be careful. We should just really, yes, no, it was definitely 3,000, near 3,000 when you include because there was more than just the World Trade Centers.
Right.
Yeah. You had the plane that went into the FBI building. You had the plane that was crashed down in Pennsylvania. I would definitely recommend, if you're ever driving through Pennsylvania, to visit that memorial, by the way. It's a pretty cool place to remember and take some time. So I'll just say that. Also, just be careful because it is chilling. That memorial, there's just the recordings and, it's kind of like going to, Ground Zero is also just chilling. Anyway, I totally got lost on that one. There's consequences to these types of actions. So if we're not willing to have these awkward conversations where we actually say, look, I love you enough. Can we discuss what you're saying right now? Because what you're saying has no basis in moral grounding. I don't want you to think that you can walk through life in just completely immoral ways. So have those conversations. Know what is true so that you can ask questions and move conversation in a direction towards truth. When Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, the reality here is that is salvific and specifically connected to our need of a Savior. And in that, Jesus is still the truth. And when he's talking to Pilate, and Pilate is forced to ask the question, what is truth? And at the end of the day, Jesus is like, I just told you what truth is. I just told you. I just told you what is true. And Pilate is rejecting it. There's a level that we must interact with truth so that we can actually inform others, lovingly, carefully inform others. But sometimes that lovingly means you have to stand boldly and do something. You have to really
Not sometimes,
stand.
Oftentimes.
Yeah.
It's just we've been raised to be cowards.
Love is not an emotion. Love is not an emotion.
Love is a verb.
Right. It's going to require you to be in activity. So if you're having interactions with one of these 18 to 25-year-olds that are having these crises of morality because their feels are telling them that it's okay to support terrorism when it's the oppressed that just need to stand up to the oppressor, we need to let them know, no, that's never okay. That's never okay. The raping of women to what?
See,
to prove your point? That's not okay.
You have to reorient to reality. That's like a thing. So first you start by, just making sure they're aware that the sky is blue, that birds chirp and can fly. You have to start with the basics. The grass is green generally, and then you can start, getting into
you could probably tell them
the other sensitivities of morality.
Yeah, if they don't understand grass, maybe you just look, bud is green, bro.
Yeah,
right.
They're like, oh yeah, that grass was green, man.
Oh no,
that just went places.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, you're right. Although your oversimplified point for using the tools of sarcasm is true. We do need to orient around true things. But namely, you have to be able to ask the questions and get into these conversations. That's the encouragement here. That's the reality. We must look at this data and say, whoa, wait a second. Wait a second. Do you have a niece or a nephew, a cousin, or do you have anyone falling into this demographic, right? A grandchild. Love them enough to ask some questions. And I'm not like, even if they're not talking about it, bring it up. Ask some questions. What do you think about this conflict between Hamas and Israel? It turns out some of these issues, like, I mean, because maybe you don't want to start off with the question of like, so what do you think about this whole cultural issue of men and women? Like, do you have any thoughts on that? Like, maybe you don't want to start there. Do the Israel Hamas? Everybody loves to have an opinion. But take their opinion and then cultivate that conversation, asking good questions, moving towards truth. We must
be informed about what's going on. I mean, I've had people come up to me and be like, "Hey, you know, America's on Israel's side, right?" Like they don't know. They do not know what's going on. That's not oh yeah, no, absolutely. That's this person has no idea what's going on, and you have the opportunity to let them know.
And yeah, if they're that far, start having a conversation. Like, inform yourselves. You know, the 6-Day War. Like, what was that? What happened there?
It's in the name,
right? I mean, part of it's in the name, but like, why
the Boy Scouts?
Why do people say that Palestine has been occupied for 75 years? What does that even mean? What is Palestine?
What is a woman?
where is Palestine on a map? What makes you Palestinian? Like, you know what? It's the Romans. Now we're going back to thinking about Rome, and yet again we've found ourselves thinking about Rome again in
caught
a
up
week.
in a meme.
That's right. Because
just one meme after another.
It's kind of what Rome referred to that area was referred to as Palestine. Yeah. So Jesus was a Jew and Palestinian. Ironically, there are no Jews inside of the Gaza Strip. However,
Where'd they all go, Justin?
They were not allowed. Actually, they, you know, what with death being the alternative and all. Yeah. So, however, there is. I don't know if I've said this before on a podcast maybe, but there's actually like a whole Muslim political group inside the Knesset, which is the parliamentary system inside of Israel. And so, believe it or not, yeah, there's Muslims that thrive and have businesses and
how many Muslims are on the Hamas parliament?
All of them. You mean how many Jews are in the government of Hamas?
Yeah.
0. That would be a 0.
Oh, where'd they all go?
Well, they needed to. It was dark in the chambers, and they needed to create some light. So,
yikes!
Yeah, that's that. If you're not getting it yet, this is the difference. Like, there's one group that doesn't want the existence of the other group, and the other group is like, "How about we just exist in peace?" And another group's like, "Nah, nah, let's not do that." All right, enough of this. What we would like to hear, though, and
why live in peace when death is a viable option?
Seriously, in starting this conversation, what we don't want to do is like if you have strong opinions about this, and maybe you totally disagree with us, and you really want to push back.
We know people.
Ask some questions. Jump in on the socials. Fire an email to us. Totally fine.
Answer back.
hello@carpefide.com. hello@carpefide.com.
Our fax number is. No, I'm just kidding. It was just.
We have a fax? That's awesome.
But we have an email, so I mean, we might as well have.
Email is the like modern fax, I guess, if you look at it that way.
It's like e-fax.
Which is actually
except mail, so it's like an email.
Anyway, so feel free to interact with us on socials. Fire us an email. We'd love to interact with you over it and talk about it because we believe that you need to put your money where your mouth is. And when we're saying have these conversations, we want to have these conversations. We're not afraid of them. We desire them. I mean, I start these conversations with people every day, so I'm definitely not afraid to have them. And thus far, by God's grace,
it's true. He shouts out the UPS truck, "Yo, what side are you on, Hamas or Israel?"
I did throw Jesse an awesome idea for a T-shirt, and I don't have it on my phone, so I can't pull it up or anything. But basically, I want to call it the Israeli Counterterrorist Unit, but
basically,
like it's like the CTU of Jack Bauer 24. It's like the CTU of Israel,
right.
But essentially they're also the group that's in charge of like
Yamam
assassinations and stuff. Yes, Yamam. but they
Your mom.
your mom uses a specifically one Bible verse as their motto. It is Psalm 18:37, which says, "I pursued my enemies and overtook them and did not turn back till they were consumed." That is so
That's so cool.
awesome. Like,
Yes and amen.
like that is so awesome. It's kind of like if you were, a part of the CIA and you were to go to CIA headquarters and look at your motto every day, you would see this on your building. It says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free."
Is that on the CIA buildings?
Yeah, right inside the CIA building.
Oh, I thought it was just a multiple choice of what gender you are now.
No, it's the motto of the CIA. It's the Bible. It's so crazy.
What?
It's
Oh my
everywhere in our
gosh.
culture. It's almost like this nation was founded as
I would love to have a Christian nation one
nation.
day. That would be so nice.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yikes.
Can of worms opened. They are all over the desk. Probably a good time to end the episode.
Yes. We do want to re-record with Alex and Josh if they have time and availability on Christian nationalism. I was looking at our stats for the first time in literally weeks, and it seems like a lot of people were plugging into the Christian nationalism discussion post G3 and the Owen Strand debacles that have done nothing but continue. So,
Yeah, seriously. What we'd like to do though is have one more episode. We were asked and invited onto another podcast to talk about it too. So we might do that, do a little crossover episode, and then that'd be it. Because I gotta tell you something.
I've got we do have other things to talk about.
Yeah, like I'd like to spend an episode talking about some gun violence with the recent shooting in Maine and like discuss like the reality.
Should we have
of,
Dan Sams on again?
I do love Dan Sams.
Oh, and then John Cooper said that he would do.
We could do Johnny Coop.
He said he would do Christian nationalism and war fighting.
War fighting, yeah, that would be awesome. Like, see, we have ideas and we want to do these episodes, and it's like, why is everyone still talking about Christian nationalism? Yeah. Here's the thing. How about this? How about we do this? Let's go out and we'll preach the gospel and we'll interact over important political issues because they are about public issues, and we'll seek righteousness in those, and then we'll just see what happens to the nation. Okay, let's just see what happens. I bet you know what? I bet you if we all do that and we're consistent with it, you might end up finding that you have a nation made up of Christians, which in turn would end to be a Christian nation.
Well, I think what happened is that after Jesus gave the Great Commission to the disciples, disciple all the nations, I think he just like turned and looked up into heaven and just like snickered with God the Father. He's like, yeah, right, they'll never be able to do that. But anyway, that's a discussion for a different podcast.
Well, that might be a little extra biblical there.
Well, if the chosen can do it, I'm going to. So many things are wrong.
Well, before we open up any more
society.
cans of worms, we just want to encourage you, Christian,
So many wormy
take
cans.
these actions and go and have a conversation based in truth, asking good questions of people that need it, people that are stuck with emotional determinism as their moral compass, which is just leading them to death.
We'll call them the 50%.
Yes. Well, have a truthful conversation and point them towards life found in Jesus Christ, the Savior. Yes and amen?
Amen.
And as we like to do every week, dear Christian, we would hope that you this day would seize the faith.